just to see if that's working any better. Yes, I think it is. Now I think I'm just going to move the microphone a bit closer so that people can hear on the radio station that's on here live at the moment as I'm speaking on Spreaker. Okay. If you want to catch it, as I say, I mean, if you're watching this on Facebook or you want to go over to Spreaker.com and search for my show there, the Life Coach Podcast, you'll see it. So going back to what I was saying about what you do in your spare time, what you do with the free time that you have. How much of your free time is really your own? That's another question for you. Think about an average week, and it's about 112 hours. For the sake of argument, let's say 100 hours. In those 100 hours, how much of that time is time that you can devote to things you really want to do? And it might be spending time with friends and family. You might very well know what you want to do. You've got your diary, you've got your schedule, and on Monday you go for a walk, and on Tuesday you go swimming, and on Wednesday you have arranged to go out with a friend at a restaurant, say. And on Thursday, basically you've got a good life sorted out for you there. But what if you, looking at the converse of that, you just fritter away your time, okay? And all you do is watch television on an evening, or you have got a very needy friend. Now, there's nothing wrong with needy friends, okay? But if you've got friends that are needy all of the time, what I would term as being time bandits, okay? Who are the people that are having too much of a negative impact on your life? Then that's worth noticing, isn't it? It's worth being aware of. So, active relaxation, doing things that drive you, that you want to do, generates hormones and certain chemicals in the brain that gives you that feel-good factor and has that positive impact on you. Conversely, being passive relaxation, like watching television or just being on the phone for a couple of hours to a needy friend who rings you every night, who, you know, just going yeah, is no good for you either. Okay, so what can you do to enhance your life? Well, I'll tell you what not to do, and that's screen time. Okay, so if you're a TV addict or it's social media, now there's nothing wrong with these things. Well, that's a point, an argument for another day. But if you don't to go out and actively take steps to change, if you feel as though you're in a rut and your life could be a lot more enhancing for you with what you do in your free time, then hopefully I can help you with that in this show. So that's what we're looking at here, and I've got some questions that have come in, but if any of you here have got any questions you'd like to ask me, then please feel free, of course, to ask away. And whilst I'm just perhaps waiting for those to come in, I'm just looking at the questions I've got here. Let me just take a look at what we've got. I've heard a lot about mindfulness. Do you think that I should try it? But there does seem to be a lack of groups in my area doing it. What do you suggest? Now, that's a good question. And might seem like a contradiction in terms, but use Facebook to have a look at or set up a mindfulness group in your area. Okay. Um, if you've searched properly, there are more mindfulness teachers out there than perhaps you may be aware of. I'm one of them as well. And the other thing I can suggest is choose your sources carefully, and I'll be happy to help you with this. And that is to look at YouTube videos and to look at if you're into apps. I know this might seem like a contradiction in terms, but where you've got a situation where you need to know where you're going to begin from, where you're going to start from, then take a look at those. Ask around, ask other people at work or your friends if they know of anybody, okay, to see if there is local groups in the area who uh, who can who, that you can go to and join. I'll be happy to help you look for that as well. And in fact, later on this year, I'll be looking at setting up a mindfulness group in my local area to attend at a health spa actually. So if you're interested, do get in touch with me and ask me more about that. Another question I've had come in is, I start out with good intentions, but I never get around to it. What do you suggest? Now that's quite a general question. I don't quite know what you mean by getting around to it, but I suppose what you must be looking here, and I'll assume that this is the case, that you're looking at getting out of this rut, this pattern where every day is like Groundhog Day. Okay, you wake up, you go to work, you come home, you have something to eat, you put yourself in front of the television or whatever it is. We're very much creatures of habit. We can so easily get into habits so quickly. And it just goes round and round and round in a cycle. And before you know it, half your life seems to have gone. So if that's what you mean, the person who asked this question, then what do you suggest? Well, what we're looking here really is at breaking bad habits. We're looking at two things, aren't we? We're looking at breaking bad habits on the one hand and developing or starting new habits on the other. And the old adage of old habits die hard really is true. The subconscious mind is the part of the mind that's mainly responsible for taking over habits. So in other words, when you first start a habit, whether or not that's good or bad, the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference. It doesn't discriminate between what's good and bad. It's just very good at creating new habits very quickly. You have to force it. So if you've got something in mind that you want to do that's new, or something you used to do and haven't done for such a long time that you would like to do now, and rekindle that love, that interest, then you've got to try various tactics to stay on course with that. I've got an audio that can help you with this, not only for you to identify what sort of things you could do, but secondly, how you can stay on track and continue to develop a really good habit for that. And that's downloadable from my Facebook group, which is the My Matters Radio mindfulness. Let's start again. My Matters Radio, the Life Coach podcast. Okay, just type it up as a group in Facebook, and you'll find some complementary audio there. Okay, it's hypnosis there with two main aims. One, for you to help your amazing subconscious mind to brainstorm ideas on what you could do, and secondly, to stay on track with that. And it's a question as well of diarizing it, put in the diary, and just go for it no matter what. What helps here is to visualize, which relates to another question I've got coming up in a moment. Through a creative visualization, you can sit down and really notice what all the benefits of the good things will be about what it is that you are going to enjoy and do when you are all the things that you're going to really benefit from when at the time that you're doing that activity. Okay, so it would help if just for a couple of minutes a day you sit down and you relax, take a few deep breaths, check in with yourself, and think to yourself, how would I like to feel when I'm doing this particular thing, this particular activity? And if I continue with this activity over the coming days and weeks, how will it be for me then? How is that going to change my life? And having that investment, just to sit it down with yourself for a couple of minutes, check in with yourself. If you've got an app on your phone, or you just want to make a note in your diary to do that every day, or at least every other day, that will again help you on track. Keeping a journal, when you've actually done what it is that you've been wanting to do, then just write a little resume of what it is. In other words, give yourself that valuable time to reflect and write down what it was that the positive experiences that you felt and had when you did that. Okay, and in case you didn't listen to, or haven't had a chance yet to listen to my first podcast, what kind of activities am I talking about here? I'm certainly not talking about television, social media. I'm talking about other mental and physical activities that you could do. So any sports or exercise of any description, everything from just taking a walk around the block for a couple of minutes, right through to full-on gym sessions or training for a marathon, and everything in between. Just taking a walk out in nature, or reading a novel or two. Taking up a new hobby or rekindling a hobby. When you are into a certain interest, and it doesn't matter what it is, you're in the zone, okay? And that doing that regularly has a very confidence boosting and resilient effect on you, on your psyche, on your mind, and on your body. Okay, they're related over a period of time. So I hope you can understand from the kind, I don't want to be prescriptive here, but I hope you can understand from the kind of suggestions I'm making here, the kind of things that you like to do, and not be a victim to mainstream television and movies and social media, all of that. Don't buy into that, okay? And giving time for yourself, much more, to spend some time instead of being pulled away with the tide, okay? Other people, the next question that came in was, other people can seem to visualize, but not me, and I get really frustrated. What should I do? This goes back to what I was saying about visualization. Everything that you manifest in your life, you always think of first. You might not realize that that is what it is, that you think of it first, but you do. If you don't realize you think of it first, then it'll be the subconscious mind that's doing that for you. I can talk about this another time if you like, go into a bit more detail on it. Uh, but basically, we or all of us, we can all of us visualize. We can, if you've had a dream, okay, that you've remembered when you wake up, any kind of dream, you can visualize, okay. And what I like to say to people who say that they can't visualize is, well, just think about, get into the just get into the habit of the idea of thinking about things. Um, so when you hear someone say, it might even be myself, something like, imagine just how good you will feel when you feel invigorated. What else do you feel? What will you feel when you've done certain activity? Okay. And just think about it. And it all comes with practice, because the more you think about the positive outcomes of having done whatever is the activity that you've got the enthusiasm to want to do, the more you're likely to do it, and the more you're going to do it more often. Okay. Next question that came in was, I know I'm a self-confessed TV addict and all I do is watch TV all day. Where do I start? That is a really good question, and um, the question that came in there is really quite is very common. Start slowly, okay. Um, if you it's very it's a very passive activity, watching television, when you're addicted to television to the extent that you say that you are. And one way of starting that realization and helping yourself there is to get a TV guide and start to highlight, mark with a pen what you do actually watch, and then ask yourself the question: if there's one program I could get away with not watching tonight, what would it be? Take a look, mark it, and at the same time think about what it is you want to do instead. Okay, unless there's a viable alternative, you're just going to end up watching it, aren't you? So you might want to plan a few days ahead on this. Okay, um, you don't want to do this necessarily on a Monday morning and then work out what's happening on the Monday evening. You might want to plan to do something different and break this habit, say on the Wednesday or the Thursday. Okay, so that's one way of doing it. And this idea of keeping a record, recording, keeping a journal of the experiences that you've had. A journal is very useful actually in this situation, because until you start to begin just to get over that hill, get over that threshold of beginning that new habit, your subconscious mind is going to make all kinds of excuses and all kinds of excuses for you. And it may well be that you're going to have a few false starts at the beginning. But to admit that to yourself, that you've had a few false starts in trying to break this bad habit, and writing it down with your own hand, don't type it up or anything, write it down, and to actually be really 100% honest with yourself and take a real good look at what it is, will help see written down the excuses that you make for yourself, and to look at those every day in a private journal, a little book or something, or even on a online or on your device. Although obviously you must be very careful there of privacy, of course. Um, when you read it back to yourself, that has a lot of power, okay? To actually read back to yourself what it is, the excuses or whatever that you say you're making to yourself, okay? Um, because then the subconscious mind looks at that and starts. The subconscious mind likes a lot of new things that it wants to chew over, okay? Once you feed it, it's very lazy, the subconscious mind, okay? You've got to start feeding it new stuff for it to process and think about. And so I hope that what I'm saying here is helping you to break out of a rut or a cycle and think about what it is you want to do instead, okay? Write that down in your journal. So instead of watching a program at 8 o'clock and 8:30 on Thursday night, for change, I am going to do this, okay? And many of you here, I'm sure, what with time shifting and everything, you know, you watch now, record now and watch later. You can, we don't live in a scheduled society anymore, do we really, in relation to television and media and radio? You can watch what you want when you want. And if you've got means at your disposal to be able to start doing that kind of time shifting, I'd be inclined to give that a go. Give that a go as well. So I hope I've given you a couple of suggestions there on what you can do to break a bad cycle habit of um, of something that if you feel that what you're doing isn't particularly helpful to you right now and you're wanting to do something much more positive instead. The other question that came in that I was asked is, what's your view on the law of attraction? Is it worth doing? This is slightly off the path, this one, uh, but I'm going to take the question anyway because I was asked it. For those of you who don't know about the law of attraction, it's been popularized, and some would say, and I'd be inclined to agree, been somewhat rather sicklified and commercialized by a book that was written, I think, by Rhonda Byrne called The Secret. And the thing about The Secret is that it's no secret, okay? This goes back, the point that was that, or the whole drive of what was said in the book, and it became a film of sorts, is all to do with the power of intention and living as if you already have whatever it is you want. Now, it's been around for thousands of years. Okay, this is an ancient art. Okay, and must be taken seriously. And I sense that in the book, and especially the film, it's very based on material gain. And if that's your bag, then fine. But it's very much has a spiritual stroke kind of deeper than just material goods kind of impact and theme going through it as well. Okay, and what I'd like to say in in relation to this, in the context of what I'm saying about effective active relaxation and the benefits of that and what it can give you, is the intention. Okay, what do you? The question I'd like to ask you that'll help you here is, what do you want from your life, what that you're not getting at the moment, and what is it that you want to achieve, and often what that gut feeling is about what it is. So long as you are committed to it and put your energy and your motivation into it, what you then hope to achieve from it will come from that, okay? Usually, however, in an unpredicted way that uh, that that you hadn't perhaps anticipated. So another important part of this is not to anticipate, not to second guess what will be in store for you. And one thing's for sure, if you don't make have the intention of positively changing, then and you just carry on the way you are, then you're going to stay like that. It was Einstein, I think, who said that the same kind of thinking that got you into a mess isn't is not going to help you get out of that mess. So you've got to think differently. You've got to think outside the box, okay, and think about a solution, if you like, to the problem that you haven't yet thought of. And the best way of doing that is to be very open-minded. So to go back to answering the question, in the context of what I'm talking about here, which is bringing more sort of value, more active, more life-enhancing activities into your life that isn't passive, where you're at the beck and call of the TV and radio schedulers, okay, and taking control. That's one of the biggest things of all, having the feeling that you are in control of a situation. And the more you feel as though you're in control of situations in your life and more in control of events in your life, the more you personally are going to feel in control. And the more you feel in control, the less stressed and anxious you will be, because being anxious is uncertainty and the way you emotionally react to future events. And you can train your mind to become genuinely more calm and relaxed about things if what you do and what you plan in your mind, both consciously and subconsciously, so planning to do what you want to do with your free time, has the psychological impact of then having much more wider impact on the feeling of control and the feeling of confidence and happiness that it's you that's doing the driving, okay? It's you that are in control of your life and not others that are in control of your life. There's an old saying that plan or be planned upon, okay? I'm a firm believer in that, in that saying, plan or be planned upon. So, um, so I've just looking to see that on the radio part of the show here, somebody's just logged in and is looking at the chat to see if a question comes in. So I'm just going to keep a little eye on that. Okay, so where was I? What was I talking about? This is what I could do with a co-host to remind me of what we're talking about. I think we're talking about, yes, the wider impact, the positive impact that if you anticipate that things, if you anticipate a lot that so and so might call you and you don't want necessarily for them to call you, or bad things happen to you in your life, then guess what? It all starts with a thought, okay? You are bringing that either directly or indirectly into your life. So if you think positive thoughts, think happy thoughts, positive, happy things will happen to you. And it's all a question of perspective, okay? Two people can go to the same same sporting event, and at the end of that sporting event, be asked to recount what they thought of it, and that you get two completely different views of what happened. And the more biased you are, the more of a supporter you are of a specific team, the worse it gets. Okay, so we can all of us convince ourselves and not be very objective at all, can't we, about what we expect from lives and how we view events. So just to come a full circle here, how does this square with what question I was asked about the law of attraction? Is it worth doing? It's not a question, I think, of doing the law of attraction. You don't do it. You absorb some of its features. You absorb what it's trying to tell you, and you run with it. You experiment with it. You try it in the context of bringing value added benefit to your life in relation to changing what you do in your spare time, because you feel that your whole time is just wittering away before your very eyes. If you feel that that is happening to you, then what I would suggest, recommend that you do, is to, in the context of the question I was asked about intention, is to sit down with a pen and piece of paper and write down what it is that, how would you feel? Here's the question. The question for you would be, how do you want to feel that you're not feeling at the moment? And in relation to that, was there a time in your life, doesn't matter how long ago it was, where you felt that way? And what were you doing at the time? And it's an internal job, okay? Happiness and feeling contented is an inside job. Yes, other people around us in our lives can act as a kind of a stimulus, a cue for us to feel, but the actual feeling comes from within. And if you felt it once, you can feel it again as you become more and more self-aware. Okay. And promoting self-awareness and becoming more self-aware and emotionally mature, comfortable and happy with who you are, I think is one of the main purposes in life, one of the main aims in life. And they say, don't they, another saying is to judge a man not by what they say. In other words, judge someone not by what they say, but what they do. And so if someone was to look at your life and they were to be a fly on the wall and they were to observe what you do, how much of that is a true, accurate reflection of the kind of person that you are? And if it isn't, what is? And start slowly and building up from there. What kind of things, if someone was looking at you from the outside in, a fly on the wall in your life, what kind of things do you do that reflect who you are? And does it truly reflect who you are? And if not, what would you do? What would you do? And what will you do? Resolve with yourself now that within the next day or two, that you think about, what would I like to do differently that I haven't done before, and experiment with that. Try it. Okay. So I'll be wrapping things up there now, and I'm just going to be here now for another minute or so. So if anybody's got any questions at all, either on the radio show that's here, is on my screen, by the way. So if I've been looking away from the screen here, it's because I've got my radio show console here. So if anybody has got any questions in these closing minutes, then feel free to ask away. Otherwise, we'll wrap it up for this evening. Okay, so I've been Oliver at Mind Matters Hypnotherapy. If you would like to listen to the pre-recorded radio program that I recorded earlier on this week, then head on over to Spreaker.com and type in there the Life Coach Podcast, where you'll see my show. I'll be back again a week this coming Monday with the next recorded show, with a live show the week on that Sunday, and it's the show's going to be on procrastination. Okay, getting unstuck. If you feel stuck in your life and you want to move on, I'm going to be offering some practical help and suggestions on just how you can do that. Okay. If you're on Facebook, head on over to the group, type in the Life Coach Podcast group, and feel free to join it. There's a free hypnosis download there and a free resource pack on helping you to record, in other words, a journal. There's on there, on the Facebook group, the Life Coach Podcast, there's a journal that you can download and print or use however you want to help you begin to make changes to how you spend your much valuable spare time. So until a week on Monday, it's bye from me, and I'll see